8, and you just getting started. Remember the old saying, and we're going to make this famous. When your world ends, our world begins. When your world ends, my world begins. If I take you into deep water in boxing, some guys.
Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is Thamayim in Atlanta, and you just heard Apostle Tahar there. He's speaking on the Christians, but he said, when your world ends, my world begins. And I want to take this straight to the Edomites, because that's what we're waiting for Esau's world to end. Esau being the so-called white man, including the small hatters, and Israel being the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And we're waiting for their downfall, for the Lord to take them out of power. And after that, we'll have order and righteousness, and the world won't be so polluted and violent, because the Edomites will have been removed. And so we're going to go straight to this eye-opening scripture here in 2nd Esdras 6, and we're going to start at verse 7. It says, Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? So when is the end of the world? And that world, I'm saying, is eon, from the Greek meaning times, going into times. When's the end of this age, basically? What can I look for to know that it's the end of the age? Verse 8, and it says, And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, because Jacob and Esau came out of Isaac, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. And so Jacob has this depiction of holding the heel of Esau, which symbolizes taking down of the Edomites. It says, For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So the end of this age, this eon of this world, Esau is going to be in rulership and authority and in influence. But in the next one, that will be Jacob's position, in which Jacob's name was changed to Israel, and that's where you get the Israelites from, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, from Jacob. It says, The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question, Esdras, ask thou not. And so we're waiting for the end of Esau's world, and then we can enjoy foods that aren't genetically modified. We can enjoy water that doesn't have poisons in it, and air that doesn't have poisons in it. We can enjoy rulership over the other nations in Jacob's world that is to come. But until then, we have to be patient and wait for Yahushua to return. But you can even look out now, and you can see that we are in the downfall of Esau's world and of his system. And they're trying their best to set up a new system that they can remain in power, but that's just not prophesied. They had a temporary blessing. But we're going to Genesis 25, and this shows the two nations that would have rulership over the world, over the earth. This is Genesis 25 and 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? Because Isaac had to entreat to the Lord because Rebekah, his wife, was barren. And the Lord put twins into her belly, but they were struggling. They were fighting against each other within the womb. And it says, and she went to inquire of the Lord. So she went to a prophet because of this great struggle going on within her womb. It says, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. So although the babies inside were fraternal twins, they would become 2 nations. This would be Jacob and Esau. And these are the 2 nations that have been given rulership over the earth. Not together, but at separate times. And it says, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. 2 manner of people. Jacob is the righteous. Esau is the wicked. You could go to Malachi 1 and 4 and see that they shall be called the border of wickedness. And so this is also showing the ancient battle of good and evil. It says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other. That's Jacob being stronger, because this is speaking of people, not just the babies. These are the progenitors, Jacob and Esau, and then this battle goes throughout the progeny, throughout the ages. One being righteous and one being wicked. It says, and the elder shall serve the younger, showing that the Edomites, because Esau came out first, didn't get the permanent blessing. They will serve the Israelites in the kingdom of heaven. And just to show that he came out first, verse 25, and the first came out red. Edom means red, all over like a hairy garment. He wasn't hairy all over, he's just red. Edom. And you see that on his progeny now. They lack melanin, and so the blood shows forth through their skin. They're considered red people and not white people, as they would have you to believe. And they called his name Esau, which means wasted away his heat, because the melanin on him was wasted away. Showing you that those are the so-called white people are the Edomites. And it's really not about color so much, but it color's an identifier. But it's all about the spirit and the bloodline that you come from through your father's lineage. Because the Israelites are going to have a remnant, or people of them, of the Israelites, that look or have the appearance of Edomites that have white skin. And then on vice versa, you have people that you would consider Israelites with brown skin that actually go back to an Edomite through their father. And those would be called tares. So it's not so much about skin color as it is about which lineage you come from. And if you come from the Edomites, you're watching your good times come to an end, because the blessing that they received was a temporary blessing, considering. And you have to also consider that Esau sold his blessing to his brother Jacob. And Jacob came in to get the blessing from Isaac by dressing up as Esau, because Esau was supposed to have it normally because he's the firstborn, but it went to Jacob. And the Lord always had it planned out that way. We just saw it in Genesis 25, where it said, and the elder shall serve the younger. And so Esau, even though he sold his birthright, he still tried to get the blessing. The blessing and the birthright go together. They go hand in hand, which is why Jacob got it. But Esau was able to get basically a consolation prize from his father Isaac, which Isaac is Yahushua. It's Genesis 27 and 38. And Esau said unto his father's Isaac, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. This is after Jacob came and took the blessing. But Esau, still, being as greedy as he is, even though he sold his birthright, still wants the blessing. Verse 39, And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, so the best parts of the earth, and that fatness even goes into oil. But primarily it's talking about the best parts of the earth. He lives on the best sides of town. Lives in some of the best countries, and within that country he's going to be living in the best parts of that country. And not to mention the wealth and riches that come with the fatness of the earth. It says, And of the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live. So everything they have, they would take through violence, through the sword. And shalt serve thy brother. And so they're still going to go into captivity under Jacob. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And so we did have the Edomites underfoot during the time of David and Solomon, but they broke out when Solomon started to go off, and have been a menace to us ever since. And you even look at Amalek. Amalek was the first to go against our people after the exodus from Egypt, and they have been at our heels, annoying mosquitoes ever since. Really oppressive mosquitoes. And it says, And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. And this helps to show the link between Esau and Cain. Cain was the wicked, and Esau was the wicked. Abel was the righteous, and Jacob was the righteous as well. Whole battle of good and evil. And currently, we're in this temporary blessing that's discussed on in verse 39 and 40. We're in the Edomites' temporary blessing, and we are at the end of the world. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. And you can see this more in the scripts when you go to Amos 9 and 11. It speaks of the remnant of Israel, remnant of Jacob, being raised up, and the breaches of the house of David being sealed, and it's all to put down the remnant of Edom, of Esau. And that's the kingdom of heaven, when the Edomites go down permanently. But we're going to go to Lamentations 4 and verse 21, because it also shows that translation of the kingdoms. It says, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, so-called white people and these small hatters. Be glad that dwellest in the land of Uz. Be glad that you got your consolation prize and had an opportunity to rule. And you did rule, but it was all in wickedness. So you have a judgment coming because of how wicked you've been throughout time. It says, The cup also shall pass through unto thee, that being that cup of trembling, with all these curses and everything awful is in this cup, which they are already beginning to drink. These the curses that have been on the Israelites are going to transfer onto our enemies, starting with the nation of Edom, so-called white people, and the small hatters. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. So they're going to expose themselves in sin. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. This is speaking to the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as are scattered, that might resemble Edom, or might resemble Moab, or might resemble Ham, or might resemble any of the other nations. But our punishment is coming to an end. It says, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. So we're not going to be under the other nations anymore. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. Because this is them going down to be, this is them going into captivity as well. And to be in captivity is a curse for your people. And so let's go back to Apostle Tahar here one more time.
He might gas out in round 8, and you just getting started. Remember the old saying, and we're going to make this famous. When your world ends, our world begins. When your world ends, my world begins. If I take you in the deep water...
When your world ends, my world begins. And we are watching the end of Esau's world. And it's very much deserved. They have to go down. They have a lot to pay for. Because they've been unrighteous and they've dealt unjustly. And they've hurt those that have not tried to hurt them. They've been the devil. They've been complete liars and complete bloodshedders and everything wrong within the world. But they have put themselves up like they are the moral pedestal, the bastion of morality on this earth, when they're the devil within the scriptures. Sirach 10 verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, and they can't keep a contract at all. You could look at the 400 plus treaties broken when they took over our brother Gad to get this nation of Babylon or USA. They did that all unrighteously. Injuries. They have the blessing of the sword. So of course there's going to be injuries and deaths and murders. And riches got by deceit. Their economic hitmen and their greed and going around colonizing. They've gotten riches by deceit. They come up like they're nice and well-meaning, but then they rob, steal, and kill. So this kingdom is translated from one people to another. So we're watching this kingdom be translated from Esau. And so we're watching them fall currently as they scramble to try to set up their new system. It's not going to happen. And we're watching this happen from Esau to Jacob. So we're coming into a time of righteousness, because Jacob is the righteous and Esau is the wicked. We're watching the right hand overcome the left hand. And it's from prophecy, but it playing out on the earth. They have done everything to be judged, and so they can't even complain. They will, and they'll cry like their forefather Esau, but this has to happen for the world to be made right, and for it to have order. Your punishment must come. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. And shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.